Welcome to Kill Team Casuals, a podcast all about Kill Team filmed in 3 different time zones by 3 different gents. In today's episode, we talk all about your favorite skirmish game set in the 41st millennium, Kill Team. Enjoy.
Oh, and welcome the Kill Team Casuals. All 3 of us are here.
Hey-o.
Last week it was none of us. The week before one was missing. Then the one before that was it's been guests. There's been a 40K Casuals podcast. But we're going back to our roots today and we're welcoming back the big, sexy 3. I'm joined as...
the legitimate KTC3.
Right,
Ooh.
right. It's special. I think Ben's frozen, but that's fine. So I'm going to start with you, Russ. It's down below me.
As I was saying that, I was trying to push us on a little bit. I was like, if I keep maybe like talking, maybe he'll unfreeze from his pose, but definitely frozen, definitely no longer here. His Wi-Fi's gone, but his face remains thus far. It's Ben from Battle Brothers Tabletop, or Jason FOMOA to you.
The one and only.
And it's me.
It's you.
I'm going to do Ben's introduction to me, which is, brother. That was like the Jason. That's about as... Actually, it sounds more like Hulk Hogan than Jason Momoa, does it?
The Macho Man is here for the intros.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm Russ from GFN Gaming. Thanks, Ben, for the introduction. And I'm going to throw this back up to Rhys from Threes to Wound, baby.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Ben is
and he's back.
Just in time to have missed his intro. It was really good, Ben. Trust us. It was one of the best intros ever.
Ever? Yeah, I try, gentlemen.
I try.
Well, look, it's been a hot minute since we've been able to chat Kill Team. And I must admit, the thing I would love to kick off talking about today is that it's kind of all quiet on the Western Front. We kind of went from the madness of... actually, Russ, sorry, quickly, I think I can hear something. Have you got something to bring to the table there?
No.
In your own time.
God damn, this one's a tough one. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's stuck. Pull out, then up. It's not working. Oh, God, I can see this being an injury. I'm trying to open.
Always pull out, then up.
Yeah, aim away from
Where's
face.
the list by, folks?
Aim away from face.
Oh, no, it worked, but I was laughing over it. Maybe I can get this on. Maybe I can get this on. Oh my God, this is the most difficult Bundaberg I've ever tried to get into. This is ridiculous. Oh my!
This is a great audio gag.
It's just peeling off. It's just peeling off.
Wow. I tell you what, for the podcast listeners,
God damn,
they would have no idea what has happened, and that is the best
They
part.
know. Yeah. They know. Anyone who's been a keen Bundaberg drinker knows what it's like when you get a bad batch, and this is the baddest of the bad batches ever. I'm gonna legit lose a thumb on this.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you
right.
to like slice your finger open.
It's gonna happen.
All the Bunda Bears out there will know. All the
You know what's happening now?
I'm having to get
I'm having to get the hobby clippers out to open it. This is how bad this is getting.
The jaws of life.
You're gonna have to buy a new pair of hobby clippers.
I can't let it go. What am I gonna do? Left a half open Bundaberg on. That's just gonna, you know what? I can. There it was.
Oh, it's a boy.
Oh, baby, like a glove, smooth. And that's how this podcast goes. It's about as easy as opening a Bundaberg.
Oh, that was the start we wanted. That was realistically, that's what we wanted. That's what we needed.
Definitely frozen again.
No, he's just looking at you with like, so proud.
You know
son.
what?
That's what he's like, proud of you.
For a while, I thought that was that look. I thought he was like you scamp. You rascal, you. And that was kind of that look. And then I realized, he's gone all frosty eyed and he looks like he hasn't blinked in a while. And I was like, he's definitely frozen again. But yes, Bundaberg.
As I was saying, Ben can pick up with the conversation and get his legs working and catch up to us. We went through a huge flurry of
Man
drops,
alive.
ITD was a blur. It felt like they were just going 1, 2, 3, 4. Like the releases of those. I'm still built 1 out of 4 sets of those. That's still on the to-do list. He's back.
He's back.
Oh, there we go. All right, I'm using my phone as Wi-Fi. It'll be great.
Magic.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Magic. Pedal harder, my friend. Pedal harder.
So,
You
as we were saying, all quiet on the western, on the western
Yes.
front,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
So we're just saying, big releases.
I'm trying to-
ITD hit real hard and hit thick and heavy. Then we got the Ashes of Faith, and now we've got 10th edition.
Yeah.
How have you guys found this lull? Has it been rejuvenating, allowing you guys to catch up on your hobbying, or have you found it a bit sad because it's a bit empty?
I have some immediate thoughts on that. I think it has been on the scale of good and bad, positive and negative, if you will. Some might say, sweet or not sweet. I would say that it is not great because of the state that the meta is in. For such a healthy game as Kill Team genuinely normally is.
I love how you gave us a scale of good and not good, sweet and sour, and then immediately abandoned that for great and not great. Even though I mentioned 3 scales. It's good or bad, negative or positive, sweet or sour. It was great, which is none of those.
Rush, you wouldn't understand. It's a different
just
graph that he's using, okay? The scales.
It's outside of view.
And since the game is in probably it's with only a few outliers, but those outliers are pretty insane. It feels a little bit like we're in a bad lull. Like lulls don't have to be bad. This one feels a little bad. What do you guys think?
Yeah, because it can be that excuse to catch your breath. I was saying, if you want to get some of those other teams done or trying out some teams. But yeah, the fact that seems that those teams that maybe people thought were going to get hit on their head a little bit harder with the nerf stick, or some of the other ones are going to get lifted up, probably didn't quite get the boosts we thought they would. What about you, Russ? What did you think?
Yeah, it does feel like, and it's hard to not draw comparisons to Big Hammer. And again, it's going to be an old comparison because I don't really play current. But there's been previous editions of, and I'm just going to say Warhammer Games Workshop has kind of a history of this. Let's be fair. Apart from the original Kill Team, which kind of opened in a vacuum, there's very few games that are just like, here you go, here's all the teams, it's all balanced, go for it. There's quite a few teams that have landed in a very good position and are seemingly now going to be in a good position until the next data slate, which is a quarter away. So we've got 3 months of those teams potentially dominating. And again, good players will win with rubbish teams, but they will win easier with good teams. So it's not, and again, this whole thing is just competitive. If you're a casual player, which is understandable why you might listen to us, this doesn't even, I almost think it's good to have boogeymen teams, because when you face a boogeymen team, you're like, oh, I am up against it. And that victory's a little sweeter in a way. And then and any kind of defeat is a little bit, well, I was up against it. It felt more like the original game, which is, I don't know, Napoleonics, when the point of wargaming is to recreate unwinnable battles. You know what I mean? You recreate a battle in which you could, in history, you lost. You're recreating that battle, maybe you can win. But I am very much in a competitive mindset these days, having played a bunch of tournaments this year. And it does kind of, in terms of tournaments, which it seems to be most of the games I play now are in tournaments.
Hang on. Aren't you a casual?
I know. I used to think of myself as a proper casual because I love narrative play, and I still play narrative games. But because you go to a tournament, it's four games against really heavily competitively. We're doing them maybe once a month. So most of the games I play, I maybe play 2 games during the month that are narrative, and then twice as many over the space of one day, over the space of 5-6 hours, all competitive, and you get proper into that. But it does kind of hurt the competitive scene, I guess. If that's what you care about, you will see more of those better teams. And if you're going other places to play competitive teams, like you're traveling a little bit further, you will see more teams. If you've got a nice local meta, most of those players will change up. They won't want to stick with the same team, but you will invariably get someone who will just play the best team. But that being said, I don't know. I think there's not that many people that will just stick with the best team and keep winning, because eventually it's not fun anymore. And ultimately, I think most people, even tournament players, do go for fun. So in that sense, I'm very casual with my convictions because I've done a 180 and I now think it's not that bad.
You talked yourself out of it. We watched you do it.
You just thought through it. You thought you just
that was the whole
through it live on camera.
Basically, I was just thinking, you know what? My local meta, the best players will run goats for a little bit or run cults and then be like, you know what? I think I've done this now.
I think Admiral
and they play something else.
Admiral Rudy in the chat made a good point. He said, I think you can play competitive with a casual spirit, and I do like that. So you're playing competitive. Yes, you do like to win, but playing that one meta team over and over and over again is there's no joy in that. Sooner or later, it's like I should probably try something else or try something new. So yeah. Ultimately,
it is a game, and you're there to meet like-minded people that you can befriend and have a joint experience that is, a fun one. Hopefully,
Now, Ben, you've got some choices to make upcoming. You've got some potential tournaments coming up, and you were umming and ahhing about who to take.
Yeah,
Speaking of meta, have you had any thoughts over? Because I think there was 2 main ones you've got coming up soon.
Yeah. So I have Tampa coming up, the Tampa Open coming up in October, and then LVO all the way in January. And I'm trying to figure out what to take because I love my Legionaries. They're my favorite and the best team. But I've been playing them for like over a year now. Like since they released, basically, that has been the one team I've been grinding on. And I love them. They're fun. And like I don't hate their matchups into some of the boogeymen like cults. Like I think Legionaries like aren't the worst team to go into cults. I think Legionaries are pretty good going into goats as well. But like I've done a lot of Legionaries, so I've been looking at speaking of meta teams, I've been looking at Scions. Yeah,
some sort of compendium
team.
Dust them off.
Because I know Rhys, you'll level. We know Ben pretty well now, and he would never take. He would never take like S tier or like A tier. This guy,
self-respect
style, he's going. Yeah, straight to B team, middle B team to show respect. You know what I mean? So Corsairs, let's take a guess, Rhys. I'm going to say Corsairs, solid 50-50.
Oh, yeah. I could see, maybe
that's kinda,
maybe Hands of the Archon. Maybe he's just going to keep that elf theme.
Yeah.
Loves his elves. You
guys know how much I love elves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those too.
Can't be anyone else.
So of the 2 teams that I have narrowed it down to, either Kasrkin, right? Talking all your crap about teams. Either Kasrkin, actually 3 teams: Kasrkin, Blooded, or the Goats. I played a couple games with the Goats the other night, and man, it was just so much fun. Like it was my first couple games.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, everyone I know that plays Goats, they just say it's fun. And that should be great. It should be that should be it. The reason you play the team is because it's fun, and that's how I feel about Blooded. I just have fun playing them. So I'm not actually going to give you that much grief about taking like one of the best teams and stomping everyone else. Carry on, Ben.
Well, here's the thing. It's okay to play great teams when you suck. If you suck, you can play the good teams.
That's
and it kind of balances out. You know what I mean?
It's skill level to team level. I like it.
Yeah. But so the Goats were really, really fun. Very different play style. I also don't think that Goats are that crazy insane. Like they like the difference between Goats and Cults, I believe, is a chasm between the two of those 2 teams. Goats are very strong. Like I would never deny that. Like they are very strong, but they are not insane. Where I think Cults are straight up insane. So I'm gonna hang out with Goats for a little while, and because it's just so much fun to play, like just bonking people and giving people big old hugs, and I dig it. It's real fun. If you guys haven't played them, you should play them because they're great fun.
I played them twice, and some of their models are just some of the most fun. I think it's the Vandal. I love the Vandal, the guy with a massive club,
the big old
Fluxbray.
Yeah.
Oh, some of the best, if you could, I would love the ability to be like, I know 40k, Kill Team is already the tapas of Warhammer 40k. Imagine if they just said, pick a team. It's 10 operatives. Pick a mix. Whatever you want. I would be like Vandal, Fluxbray, Balefire. You know what I mean? And just be like, I'm going to have these guys.
Super teams. You're talking super teams here,
imagine that. Exactly. Maybe eight
I'm
operatives. But you can pick. And I'd be like Vandal. And they get all their rules. So Vandal, Fluxbray, Kellamorph. You know what I mean?
I would probably just go 8 custodies just to be a real joke.
Scum.
Hold on, guys. This is not on the notes, but let's workshop this for a second.
Okay.
Break it into Imperium, Chaos, Xenos, and whatever else.
Caveat.
So let's say for Chaos, you have 10 slots.
Yeah,
right?
slots.
10 slots or
Maybe
12
8.
slots. Let's say you have 12 slots. Like, right? And a Marine would take up 2 slots.
Yeah,
so you get
point system.
6 Marines in there.
Okay, I like that. Yeah,
sort of like a hidden little point system. And then maybe a goat is one slot. 1. I don't know. It'd
have to be based on runes,
1.5.
Yeah.
Don't give us 0.5.
Yeah, because like a cultist.
No points. It's either 1 or 2.
Ooh, okay, that'd be tricky. But yeah,
we don't want people doing maths. That's crazy talk.
There's a way to figure this out. I'm gonna think about this. This seems fun.
Hey,
fun.
if you can make it work, I would love a pick a mix chaos, pick a mix. I mean Xenos. You know what they should do? They should bring back, and this is I would love this. You know what? Add this rule. Add animosity, which is if you any unit. I don't know if you know this rule. Ben might not because this is like early fantasy. But an animosity roll is
young and
goblins. I'm too damn handsome to have played Warhammer Fantasy, sir. But yeah, so you roll a d6 for every unit that has animosity, and if you roll a 1, they don't do anything that turn. So just put in an animosity roll. And I know it's chaos. It's
so
absolute chaos.
It and just be like, I'm not playing with these guys.
Just to be like, you know what? I don't like these guys. And maybe how is this like an extra rule? They won't activate if they're within 3 inches of an operative from a different kill team. So if you've grouped them, if they end up turn 3, they're all in a mess together, and you've got to roll animosity for any model within 3 inches. And then it's like, you know what? Nah, it just shoots. Actually, in fantasy, they would shoot at the nearest model. They would be like, I don't like that guy. He's on my team, but I'm going to shoot at him. But then you can act as normal. That would be actually quite fun.
This is just some kind of melee that you've created now. This is not even a team.
I know.
This is just models in the middle and just
is just chaos. We're bringing back soup. This is exactly what we need.
Yeah.
Soup.
Now, this is just when you were a kid and you'd play with your Toy Story toys and your Star Wars toys and you just mash them together. That's what this is.
That's where we're at. This is what we've become. How dare we?
Good content. That's what this is.
So what would, apart from goats, why Kassakin? What was the reasoning behind?
Yeah, why Kassakin?
I mean, because obviously, Russ, you were right. You said I'd missed them when the narrative campaign was over. And I do a little bit. Some of the reasons I hated them have those things that's rose-colored glasses when I look back on them now. And technically, I don't want to brag. But, they finished top in the narrative campaign, tied first, because they did things.
Check you out.
Go. My friends
Look
at us casuals. Casual. We have to title this episode Casual No More.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We've taken off the mask.
But Kassakin, they're easy. Number one, Kassakin are easy. There's not a lot going on. And for me to want to play a team, they cannot be overly complex. Like a team like, let's say... Inquisitors. Like, immediately? Yeah, like Wormblade. Wormblade, not so bad, but Inquisitors, that just keeps me away. Yeah, like Warp Coven. That's the worst. Like, all right, how much do I have to think? How many decisions do I have to make? Like with Legionaries, I know, look, I have these like 10 specialists that I can choose from, and 4 of them aren't that good, and 6 of them are good. It makes it really easy. And so, like, I like that. And guess what? With Felgor Ravagers, there's no list building. It's not, what am I taking? It's I'm taking these 10 guys every time. They do the one thing. Mantle of Darkness, freaking busted. That's crazy strong. That 3-inch bubble needs to be toned back down to a 2-inch bubble, I think.
What does that do for the casuals amongst us, Ben? What does Mantle of Darkness do?
So your shaman or your Bray shaman or whatever it is, he can do a couple of things. One is that he can cast a mantle of darkness, so it's like a D&D spell, like Orb of Darkness or whatever. And so everybody within 3 inches has super conceal, so they cannot be shot outside of 6 inches, no matter what.
Pretty good.
And so like you move him up to the middle of the board and just say, "Try me, losers," and you move everybody up within 3 inches of him. And then you have your leader who can see them at some point. So even if you lose initiative turn 2, and instead of getting blasted, nope, you just have your leader say, "Everybody in a 2-inch or 3-inch circle, dash, like scatter." Like he just yells and tells them to scatter, and they just
holy attack,
move out of
like
blast range, something like that. Yeah, and it's just nuts. It's crazy. There's so much fun. Like. Yeah.
It's a great leader ability, that call the attack or whatever it is, that makes anyone within 2 inches of you just dash immediately is great, especially if you're playing it like it sounds like you're playing it. Yeah, that is a solid move.
It sounds like you're at 2 ends of the spectrum there with those 2 teams too. I think you've got like the Ravagers are so like they've got so much character and their rules feel super thematic and they're super close combat, and then you've got like I guess the most straight up just military guys who have very, standard military tactics. Like they literally couldn't be more. Their play styles couldn't be any further apart. It's like if Kasich and him close
totally
combat,
opposite.
They've made a huge mistake, and whereas the other guys, like if they're not in combat, you've made a huge mistake.
You're doing nothing.
Right? Yeah.
Best comms in the game as well, Kazakin.
Oof, yeah, 100%. So good. Also, like Kasich because they have a good matchup into goats. Like, also that as well. With elite points, like you need to kill a goat. A Kasich with his fist can do it. Like, so that's what I'm thinking.
They're 2 good choices. I like that.
Or maybe Legionaries. I might just fall back on Legionaries. I don't know if you guys know
Legionaries
this.
solid.
Before we move on, this is what a crap show of an episode on my part. But before we move on, the lovely folks at Turning Point Tactics.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I have stumbled into a challenge that I imposed on myself, but it kind of fell into place. Speaking of hobby challenges, I guess we can talk about that. Is that I think now I'm going to be kit bashing a Legionaries team comprised only of Jason Momoas.
I saw this. I saw this in the Discord.
His roles. Yeah, it just kind of happened. And
I woke up covered in my bits box and Jason Momoa 3D printed heads, and it just happened. I don't know.
The Shrivetalon model you put up so far, it looks great.
Yeah, it's always like it's pretty perfect. Yeah, so I'm working on that, and then also to remind everybody of hobby challenges, we do have our inquisitorial Inquisitor challenge that we have going on. This is the last one that our good bud Emmanuel is going to be running, and so we want to blow this one out. You get a Kill Team box of your choice. For this one, so go ahead, hop in on there. The deadline, do you guys know when the deadline is on that? You guys remember off the top of your head?
I love that you led that with such confidence until we needed a date.
I'm going to pretend that my screen is frozen until Rhys figures out when it is.
The final day to submit it, guys, is July the 31st at midnight PST, which I'm assuming is Emmanuel just going, psst, like that's whispering in Discord talk.
That sounds about right.
That's what that is.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, I was having a bit of a look through there the other night. People are doing some really cool stuff. Like I think Inquisitors are the perfect thing to just go nuts with the kit bashing, and there's so many cool ways to take it. We had fun very early on with our Inquisitor little kit bashes that we did.
Oh yeah.
There was some madness created there, and it's really cool stuff. So make sure you get involved with that 100%.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Now, a little thing that we've been meaning to circle back around to, but we haven't had the 3 of us together to do, is Ben's book club. And I believe for once we've all finished the book, haven't we?
I believe we have.
Oh, yes, I have. You guys?
While we think about it, let's roll the intro.
What you got there, buddy? Let's take a look. Don't be scared, it's just your new favorite book. Ben's Book Club.
Oh, it's magical. That song, I missed it. It feels like I haven't heard that.
It's been a minute.
Whew.
Been a minute.
So tasty.
Talon of Horus was the book.
That's the one.
Feels like a long time ago when we set a month to read.
It was a long time.
I think it's been 6 months.
It was so long that I'm It was so long that I'm struggling to recall the details of this book. That's how long it's been.
See, I've got a few interesting thoughts. I'm saying they're interesting thoughts. They might be incredibly uninteresting thoughts, but I had some thoughts when I was reading it. I can't declare that they're interesting. It has to be decided by a jury of my peers.
Yeah.
Clear. So here it is. I really loved the end part, and I'll circle back to the end part, and we're gonna all talk about it. So
interesting, fascinating.
The latter chapter.
You really like the end part? That's fascinating.
Go to hell.
I'm more of a middle man, if you will, like the middle sections.
But I found it really hard to
listen. This is really interesting, guys. But I really love the intro.
Wow,
it's really interesting. What do you guys think?
We've covered the book. Well done, guys. That's it. Thanks for listening. To
you know what?
book.
I love the front cover. Roll it. But, no,
I'm done. I'm sorry, Russ. I'm sorry.
It took me a while. So when it first started, the main character, the Thousand Sun, and because it's been so long, I've forgotten his name. He felt a few of his.
Isn't that
the battles? Okay. I thought that was the bottled city of Superman, but anyway, yes. So that dude, Thousand Sun dude, he had some really interesting parts, and I loved Callimachus, the Emperor's children, who like goes toe to toe with this massive demon before he gets.
Is it Telemachon?
Humbled.
Yeah.
Telemachus?
Yeah.
Or Telemachon?
I'm pretty sure it's
the Emperor's children. It's not Telemachus. It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's damn close.
Paddywhack, the Emperor's children.
Knick-knack, paddywhack.
Damn close. Yeah. And anyway, give a dog a bone, the Thousand Sorcerer, dude. I just thought some of his lines were a bit cringe. Like when he's being attacked by everyone. And I don't know if, because we're listening it through Audible just so we can hobby at the same time. So I know that's how we're listening to it. And Rhys probably suffers this more than anyone because he's a big reader, apparently. Apparently, he likes to read the books instead. Can't understand it. Papa Kraken, Telemagnus. He had the head of hair on him, I tell you. Telemagnus, that's it. Tallyman Magnus. But anyway, he had a line that was just he was being shot at, and he put up a kind shield. He doesn't call it a kind shield, but we all know if you've read the Horus Heresy, it's a kind shield. So he throws up a kind shield, and then he goes, "I don't think so."
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was like, Jesus Christ. And I know it's being read to me.
That's what I love about it.
I hated that line. I don't think so. And it was just the inflection of how it was said. I was just like, that guy's a prick. Yeah. I do not like that guy. And I'm sure it could have been said differently, but I didn't like that. But like,
it definitely reads different. It definitely reads different. I think in your head you make it cool, but when it's someone doing it, I do think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I was just like, what? What is this? I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of that. But after I got past my initial disgust at him and got into like, so after that, I kind of like sidelined him. I'm like, I prefer the guy who's not. I prefer all this dust dude to that guy anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was Papa Kraken. What was the book? It's Talons of Horus. Thanks, Admiral Rudy. But yeah, so I didn't like him that much, but all the other characters and then when it got to the end, which we can circle back to, obviously.
We're doing a lot of circling today. A lot of circling.
Yeah, we're getting dizzy. I'll let you guys speak to that, but when we can all meet back at the end, because the end was awesome when they got to meet up with Abaddon. That was the good stuff. But Ben, it was your suggestion. Give us your overthoughts on the book.
Oh yeah, so I really loved it. I did not think. Now listen, I am a Red Corsairs man through and through. Okay, and so when I thought about reading a Black Legion book, I thought to myself, I don't think so. But I actually really enjoyed it, and it's a good little joke there. It was a good joke, wasn't it? It was a good joke. Yeah, and
well executed. Well executed.
I actually really liked it, and I like it so much that I actually read the second one, Black Legion, which was I would say maybe even better. I thought it was better.
Which one's that one?
So it's called Black Legion. It's the second one.
Oh wow, what a name! But
I know, incredible, right?
Can we decide that book after this one? Do you want to do that one?
Yeah, we can decide.
I've actually I started reading it as well because like when I finished it was like
I've not,
and I hadn't read it before, so I'm doing it live. That's what I'm currently reading. So yeah, let's keep it rolling.
Can I hop on that one?
Okay.
Because I really liked how that ended. Yeah. Boom. Done.
I have another one that I want to plug that maybe we can do after that one that I really enjoyed. But yeah, so I liked it. What you didn't like about him, sort of that smarmy, like almost Obi-Wan Kenobi, like smarmy vibes, like in a way.
Yes,
and
that's
like,
it. It's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so
But I liked
love
it on
that
him.
about. I love that about Iskandar, and that he's very pompous. Like deep down, like he thinks he's better than everybody else because he's 1,000 sons.
100%.
He's one of the 1,000 sons, and I thought he was a really good character. Telemachon, I googled it. The Emperor's Children guy. He is cool. A lot of like cool. My favorite is Fire Fist. Oh, he's sweet.
Yeah.
Lehaor, Fire Fist.
Don't call me that.
Don't
Call me Fire Fist. Yeah.
Don't call me Fire Fist.
And so, I'm a heretic. So Black Legion softened me on Black Legion. I don't like
definitely.
Abaddon as a character, typically because Huron is Bay for me. But man, Abaddon's really likable. He's really likable. And reminds me so
Horus.
much, which is, again, he reminds me so much of the early Horus in the Heresy books. And so I thought it was really interesting.
Have you guys read a lot of the horror stuff? Do you think that he matches necessarily the Abaddon from that, if that makes sense? Like I know that he's meant to have gone through a big journey, but I agree. I think I really like him in this. But in the Horus Heresy series, he's quite gruff and
very
doesn't
different.
say much.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have any charisma. And I guess maybe they do sort of hint that he's changed, he's developed, and he's had these solo adventures. So maybe he found a personality out in the warp. I'm not sure, but it does seem, big step up.
Abaddon?
Yeah.
He's had 10,000 years to chill.
I think we're seeing that. Yeah, because this is like the early days. I think he probably gets more gnarly as time. Like even in the second book, you can see like, oh, he's getting a little more gnarly. Like, what's his sword like? Dracnian, whatever. Like all this kind of stuff. That this stuff sort of affects him in the same way that the other stuff affects Horus in the early days when he gets stabbed with old chaos. Shank.
So good.
But what about you, Rhys? What do you think?
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, I loved his menagerie of followers. So like the Dark Eldar with wings.
Gotta catch them all, man.
Like, exactly like that. And his little tutelary Terry that had turned into the wolf. I loved all that. Like I guess and even just the ongoing battles in the Eye of Terror. Like that, I guess that's something in terms of lore you don't really ever hear that much of. So hearing about the Emperor's Children basically nearly destroying the War Masters Legion, the Sons of Horus. That's crazy. Like that's stuff you don't really ever hear. It's like they went in there, they hung out for a bit, and then they came out and they were all naughty and evil. But hearing those battles and how like they change and they're scrounging and all the shifting logic, I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
I really, really liked that. So that was probably one of my favorite parts was just that expansion of the lore of what's actually happening in the Eye of Terror while the Imperium was having a good time, while they had that little bit of a settling period.
I thought the intro was great. I know I just said the end was better, but I like the premise that there's like these three disparate war bands meet on these wrecks of ships because it's like, and then they're like, oh no, we're getting attacked, and they have to flee back to theirs. And obviously, Galen Marcus is like, he's like, whatever, I can just beam out of here like no one's business. Don't worry, I can save everyone. But like I thought it was a great idea that they all. Like it's just the idea of them meeting like on this these derelict ships, this space Hulk, and then they all have to flee.
And that trying to form
and they're all like
and even how
it's a real nice look at it.
Like how Abaddon had kind of and the what's the ship the
Vengeful Spirit.
The Vengeful Spirit, how they'd become nearly like myths, like, oh, they've disappeared.
Yes.
So even for them, it felt like lots of time had passed for them and they'd been living that way for a long time. And I loved how that sort of just unfolded as, I was like, oh no, it is a real thing. And when they found the Vengeful Spirit and there was like the ghost things in the walls and their weird journey through the ship was really cool.
Yeah. I was surprised how much crossover there is. Good English. There is in the 40k lore books to like 30k, because I love 30k and the Horus Heresy, and I read all that kind of stuff mainly. And I was surprised at how much, like, when the Thousand Suns sorcerer is talking about his the wolf demon, and how they used to think of them as familiars back then before they knew what these things were that became demons. And then obviously the vengeful spirit comes in. It's all about that, and you're just like, it really, that book, maybe more than others, really feels like if you've just finished the Horus Heresy and you want us to get into 40k, this is for me, I thought it was a great starting point, because all the knowledge I took from 30k, from the 30k lore, really kind of, it enhanced quite a lot, because obviously you hear all about the vengeful spirit and you know all about it, and you're like, well, I know whose flagship that is without them having to say much more, and all the other stuff. And like, it was just interesting how they kind of went back to the siege of not Tisca. Tisca. Where the Prospero, where the Thousand Suns come from and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a lovely little callback to 30k stuff. I thought it was a well chosen book, Ben, in terms of it brought my 30k lore into it as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but you're dead on. It is a really great bridge from 30k to 40k. And that's a good point. What was your guys? So we talked about the beginning, right? But I guess spoilers now. Like, if you haven't read it, like, it's great. Go get it on Audible, like, or find it free on the internet, because who cares? But like, what did you guys think of the end?
Rhys, you go first, mate.
Yeah, I thought it was great, because I remember the first time I read it, I wasn't expecting like him to turn up. I wasn't expecting that to happen. And having, as I guess, spoilers again, Horus, obviously reborn, there with World Breaker and literally breaking all of them. The only thing I would say is, and maybe because it felt a little bit jammed at the end, it kind of felt like he came and left just a touch too quickly. That's probably...
I felt that.
That could have nearly been the whole next book, was them trying to stop him. It could have been him.
That would have been interesting.
And you nearly could have ended it there, because that's such a big thing. And that was the whole thing. These Primarch characters are meant to be unstoppable. And, it wasn't like there was, we've read now in the Horus Heresy how much they wreck face. It was a bit hard to believe that he was taken down as quickly and easily as he sort of ended up being.
Yeah. I think they were trying to put the shine on Abaddon. And they were like, we really need to do this in a really succinct, short way. And it's just like, we'll show him absolutely decimating everyone and just breaking through them. He gets a little bit injured, he gets the armor blasted off him, and it's a real short fight. And these guys are pros, veterans of the Long War, and then just have an absolute bang, punch, dead. Kind of, I don't know, it's with his own way, but like, I think I agree. I think almost I would have maybe, because Horus is such a great character, I would have almost preferred to be like a proper, like him have 2 or 3 chapters on his back. Like, that would have been awesome. I would have loved that. But I get that. It was kind of, they were like, we need to show you, because you don't see Abaddon doing anything apart from rallying them and using them. And then it was just like, by the way, this is why he's in control. This is why he's the leader and the new War Master, because he was giving you trouble. Now he's done.
Yeah, Horus.
Yeah,
like what a great, so much symbolism there. Like, as he kills like his father, puts down his his gene father, and like at that moment there, like after he's like killing everybody, and freaking like Fabius Bile. I love how they just wreck all of his crap, because I hate Fabius Bile. That little scumbag.
Fabulous Bill.
Such a good
character.
You love him?
God, he's
I haven't read his
character.
books. People say his books are good, but I just hate his stupid little wispy weaselly self.
He's great. But him and Lucius, so good.
Lucius. I watched the short on Warhammer Plus recently of him. That was interesting with Lucius. But like at the end there, and sort of where Iskandar like sort of takes some time and like just say like man, like, everybody thinks they know what happened, and like there's rumors of what actually happened, but I was there. Like zooms in on where he like shoves the claw through, and he like whispers in his ear, and it's I was actually there, and but that moment was really cool. Like Oh yeah, like him killing, who this his father figure who he views as like a failure. Like he doesn't revere Horus anymore. Like he views him as a failure. And so he kills him, and he's like, it's Ezekiel, like, and puts him down, and like shoves the talon through his chest, like pretty good.
I mean, it's just
pretty good.
It's like, completely cyclical, isn't it? Because that's what obviously it's exactly what Horus did.
Yes.
I love the amount of like turning itself on itself, like the amount of like repeated motifs, like where it starts with "I was there." And Ben, I'm not too sure if you read all of the first Horus Heresy, but they start with "I was there when the War Master fell." Yeah, so it's like literally those lines. I was there.
I didn't think about
that. I remember texting you guys when I started reading that, and I was like,
Horus slew the Emperor as well, like that.
Yes,
and it's so I love that.
It's the iconic phrase.
Wow. Yeah,
I love that that's what I mean about him bringing in that 30k knowledge. I was just like, oh my! When they did that, I was like, that's such a good way of bringing it back. When you mentioned that, I was just like, yes, I loved that little nod, because it brings just that one phrase brings so much lore with it. Just because it starts you off on the heresy with those 3 books. I was there, and you were just like, oh. And I love the premise of him telling the story as this emissary who was sent there to be like, oh, he's coming.
Yeah.
He's coming.
Yeah, I actually forgot to mention that. Yeah, like Iskandar is like blinded. He's like shackled. He has no power anymore. Like he's totally bound. This is all him like recanting the story, like letting the Imperium know, like, dude, hell is coming, and you can't do anything about it. Like, he's not even like trying to deceive. He's not even trying to deceive. He's just like, this is what's happening. Like, and you guys aren't prepared. You think you're prepared. I'll tell you he's coming. You still won't be prepared.
Yeah. Anyone feel the crossover a little bit of Makari as well, though? Like, because we obviously read the Gazkal book. And remember... This was done obviously a lot better, but every now and again in my head, I did hear the little him telling the story, and I was there. I was Makari.
I was there, mate.
Old
Gork
himself. Gazgal didn't know what was happening.
So anyway, he headbutted this guy and he died, and then he headbutted someone else and time went backwards. And it's like, okay.
But no, that's the one thing I do love about so many 40k books is that like it's impending doom, like that the Imperium is always on that precipice, and
a razor's edge.
Yeah, and always how they talk about their victory. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. And I think this book does a great thing of, pushing that dread back into the 41st millennium. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Like, I really enjoyed it. It sounds like we all maybe sort of enjoyed it, maybe in different ways, which is good. But I really loved Iskandar, or Sikandar, like as is the Tiskin pronunciation, I believe. Like, like little stuff like that. Russ is, I think, frozen, but like little bits like that. I think, oh man, that's so much flavor. Where most people call him Iskandar, but like his former like master calls him like I think it's like Eskandar or something. It's like very different. Just those little bits of flavor that like he knows me. Like that's the Tiskin. Yeah, like how it's the Tiskin, like the Tiskin, right? It's the city.
Yeah.
Tis whatever.
Tiska.
Yeah, like it's stuff like that is very cool. Tiska, yeah, and so that all is very cool. So big fan.
I think having just started the sequel too, we won't look too far ahead, but I'd love how it's picked off, and things have changed and times passed, but I think it's doing a really, really good job of, like not just feeling the same, it's feeling like it's definitely a new part to the story. So I'm looking forward to discuss that, and maybe when Russ comes back, we might even... I was getting ready to move us into Legions of Russ, but it's going to be really difficult to do that with his froze.
Yeah. I guess we both get points, I guess. And then
forfeit by the Quizmaster.
And in book 2, like you see Iskandar, and he's like, you see him in book 1, and he's sort of this like all powerful space wizard. But in book 2, like, man, he's kind of up against the ropes. Like, it's a very different. He's in a different situation. Like, he's struggling to find success in his new role in the Black Legion, which is now actually formed. And so it's really interesting. And you do really feel like, man, they are veterans of the long war. Like sometimes he is off on missions for like years, and so very interesting.
Russell's left the chat and now the screen is a mess. I can't fix it.
Are we just in the middle?
We're just, it's a shambles. We're like in a T. That's fine. He'll be back. All is dust. Thank you, Nayo, Adrian, from this Discord configuration. All is dust. So is there a third in this series as well, or is there just the two?
Not yet. A real bummer. Just the two. Yeah, a real bummer. Because I was like, ooh, man, after I finished the second, I was like, you know what, man, let me hop on the third. Bummer. There is no third. That sucks.
Because
But another book.
Yes, go on.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say this. The one other thing that I really, really dug about this series too is, I mean, obviously the Black Legion have a lot of that feeling of being Chaos Ultramarines. So I really like that this, again, a bit like some of the Horus Heresy books and some of those, they're starting to get their own flavor, and this added so much to their lore. Like, you would consider starting a Black Legion army after this because it is so cool, and it kind of shows you how that they're put together, and you still can have, berserkers in there. You can have, like the modeling
honestly.
And the ideas of how it got me to think you could put an army together was actually really cool.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking a couple of my coworkers at Warpfire Minis. Ever heard of it? Go check it out if you're in the US. And like one of them is a really big Iskandar fan and a Thousand Suns player. So like, ooh, like maybe for Christmas, like I'll go ahead, like bash him up and paint him up a little like Iskandar model for his Thousand Suns army. And another one of the authors really loves Fire Fist, and so I was like, maybe I'll make him up a little Hayor. Like, and so just the modeling ideas do seem super interesting.
You can have some fun. I think someone just said in the chat there too, Black Legion, perfect Legionaries kill team, because you could have your Balefire, could be a Scandor, you know, you could have a heavy Boltarts, Fire Fist. You could really model that up.
That's perfect.
If you would be able to find a model for everyone. Was it the?
I've thought about it. Like Telemachon would be an awesome Shrivetalon.
That's it, Shrivetalon.
With his dual swords and his like death mask.
The death mask. That's one of my favorite. The things of him is that the Emperor's Children guy is beautiful, gets disfigured. Then he's got the beautiful death mask on.
It's so perfect.
So cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah. And then a book that I read as we're waiting for Russ to his internet. First it was my internet, now it's Russ's internet. Yeah, and as soon as I get done here, I have to go troubleshoot a toilet issue. So like today is just a dumpster fire of issues. But a book that I read that is completely different, in the best possible way, is a book called Flesh and Steel. Oh, and it is a Warhammer crime. Yeah. It's basically like the best way that I can put it sort of into context in a way that you might immediately think, I know what that would be like. Have you ever seen the new Blade Runner 2049 with Ryan Gosling?
Yes.
It is Blade Runner 2049 in Warhammer. That's what it is. It's really so good. My children are knocking at the door. Children, leave me alone. Go away. Go away. Leave me alone. But it is awesome. And so it's very different where you get this gritty, you have this, I forget the name, but it's not a remembrancer. It's some stupid name, but he's like basically just, like a
scribe kind of guy.
A detective. He's a detective, right? And so he comes from this really rich family, but he's chosen to like forsake that and go live in the slums. And really, really interesting. Flesh and Steel. I think that will be probably the next book after this one. It's really good and such a refreshing change from like Space Marine. Oh, brother, so and so, go kill yourself. I hate you. Like it's such a change from that. Really interesting. Really, really good.
That's unreal. All right. Well, look, I think Russ may be dead. So you've got children kicking in the door. I think that's a sign. The show is currently in a T. So maybe that's the show this week.
Hold on. Before you cancel it, let me pull it up on Twitch so I can see this.
Oh yeah, you gotta have a look at the T. It's new, it's different. We're trying it out. It may not catch on. It may. I don't know.
Yeah, we're just workshopping some things. That's all. That's all this is.
We're experimental. We're very casual. It's like an art piece. That's what it's like.
Let me stick my head up a little bit so I can see. My head is getting cut off. Hilarious.
There you go. It's perfect.
Oh, it's so good.
Awesome.
So good.
As always, thank you so much to everyone in the chat. It's so good having you guys in there. Thank you for respecting that. For once, it was the Australian internet that worked. Everyone else, the world failed. Australian internet for the win. It happens very, very unusually, very irregularly, but we did it. Thank you so much, as always, to the Patreons. Make sure, if you're not already,
You guys rock.
Head over to YouTube, follow Casual Wargamers. Just a little heads up, this week I'll be bringing out a little bit of a video. We're working on getting some stream painting going. You can actually, if I lower my microphone here, you can see a bit of my dodgy camera and lighting setup.
Look at this professional.
Yeah, so
Casual no more.
So
oh my
I can
goodness.
talk and paint, and right now that would be a shot of my crutch. So sorry about that. That's a different page. But yeah,
that's on Only Nerds.
Yeah, Only Nerds there. But working on some I guess hobby and chat stuff that we're going to be doing through the Twitch as well. Oh, Russ is coming back just in time to say goodbye.
Coming back just to say goodbye. Here he is.
Welcome back to the wrapping up here. You've made it back with a minute of the show.
So anyway, that's what I think of the book, and I think what I was talking about was pretty damn succinct. So
nailed it. How long were you talking before you realized you weren't on the show anymore?
What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. Anyway, so as I
thought
was
you
saying,
guys were just letting me have my say. It was a bit unusual.
Yes.
But
so I was just saying, Russ, working on the paint and chat or hobby and hang for the Twitch channel soon. I'll have a little video up this week showing a bit of what I've built to start that, but obviously that'll be something we'll hopefully start doing a little bit, and obviously taking it in turns as we get different setups going, because we've got 3 time zones to cover of hobbying and hanging. Because we already do some great stuff in the Battle Brothers tabletop Discord with that, the hobby hangs, and the chat through the audio. So this is just another little layer on that. And anything else, Ben? Would you like to thank anyone else?
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to hold off the horde of my children trying to burst down the door. They're looking at me through like part of the curtain. They're like looking in the garage. Like, where are you? I would like to thank everybody, everybody, everywhere, all the time. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for all that you do. And I'd just like to thank everybody. Yep.
Well, thank you to Russ from GFN Gaming. Thanks for making it.
Thank you to Russ. That's right. That's how we do this.
That's
thank you,
where
Russ.
you're meant to go.
Thank you for deciding to show up. Thanks for actually deciding to show up today, Russ. Really unlike
feels
you
genuine.
to actually
It feels
be
genuine.
Here, so yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ben, for that entirely genuine thanking of me. Appreciate it. Thank you for my phone's hotspot, allowing me to return at all. As Nottingham obviously
That's how I'm doing this right
yeah,
now.
man. Both on the hotspot.
Killed
Kill
me.
Team
I ran
Hotspot. That's the
downstairs.
new name. Kill Team Hotspot.
I ran downstairs to reset the router, and then I was like, it's not going to happen. Get on the phone. Hotspot it.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, Rhys, take us home, brother. Take us home.
Thank you, everyone. This absolute steaming pile of flaming garbage. We'll be back next week. With
what the hell?
No, we're done, Russ. Shut up. We're done.
Go ahead. Can't you see me watch anymore?
Yeah.
As always, a big figure 4 footlock of love from us to our patrons who keep the singlets warm and the talc on standby. A big thanks to Kill Team Ken, Roscoe88, Justin Kung, Vulture B, Average Joe 27, Kill Team Cascadia, Craig F. Lincoln, George, Alan Chapman, Hillux, Swanky McMofo, Stooge Co, Admiral Rudy, Michael Richards, Gordon Ballantyne, AO Adrian, Storm Owl, Jack Whittingham, Trilly Chatterjee, Vincent Cerruti, Beans, Gaston, aka the Affable Moose, and Matthew Alasana. Goddamn legends, one and all, and you help us keep running the show, so a huge thanks from us to you.